Hi, my name's Phil. I like to come at politics. So, how does one little tweet of just 4 words bring about the end of the rule of law in America? Well, funny you should ask. It has now been officially stated that as long as you openly support President Trump in everything he does, you can commit any crime you like and you will be pardoned for it if convicted. We were already getting the impression this was the case, but now the US government has openly said it. This is more than a little worrying. But first, for daily news and commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So we know that Trump and his team are pushing hard against the walls of democracy in order to bring them down. But in the past week, there have been a few worrying moves. I'm aiming to discuss other ones at various points in the future. But this one is a direct attack on the rule of law. Ed Martin is the pardon attorney for the US Department of Justice. It's a role we just don't have in this country. It's his role to carry out the administration of the pardons from the president. And the fact that someone is specifically appointed to this role gives you a sense of the scale of just how many presidential pardons there are. After Trump pardoned a former Virginia sheriff who was convicted of bribery charges, his pardon attorney, Ed Martin, tweeted, "No MAGA left behind." The message here is clear and from the member of the government most directly linked to the practice. If you are a committed supporter of Donald Trump, if you back him to the hilt and publicly back him to the hilt, if you are a follower of the naughtiest of false prophets, you are above the law. If you are convicted of a crime, even a very serious one, as long as you appear on Trump's list of confirmed followers, he will just pardon you. This particular pardon for former Sheriff Jenkins was for a conviction from just last December, where he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Trump pardoned him, saying that he was the victim of an overzealous Biden-appointed judge. In reality, he was convicted by a jury of his peers. The judge merely sentenced him. But that sentence is over now, and this is incredibly dangerous for a number of reasons. First, it shows that Trump is willing to pardon a lot of people. I've been concerned about the precedent of allowing presidential pardons to be seen as the norm for a very long time, great many years. In most countries, they're very rare. They apply in cases where it is widely believed a miscarriage took place or the law was an absolute arse at the time, but it took place so long ago you cannot have a retrial. They do not occur to undermine the judicial system. Recently, the Conservative government used a pardon system to deal with a lot of sub-postmasters in the wake of the Horizon scandal. MPs were broadly in agreement it was the right thing to do, but also made clear that it was a very bad situation to be in. They did it because the logistics of arranging retrials for so many people would mean some would not get justice possibly before they died. But they also knew it was not proven that all were really innocent, just that the majority almost certainly were, and the lesser of two evils was to release some who may have been guilty rather than leave lots who were definitely innocent in prison. But the idea of simply overturning convictions from relatively recent court cases was treated as a very serious situation by MPs of all parties, not one to be repeated casually. The vast majority of pardons are for very old situations where the normal judicial process of appeal is just not possible. The American system of expecting the president to pardon their friends and allies was always going to be open to large-scale abuse, and here we are. Second danger is that it empowers MAGA lunatics. Can you prove that you are a major MAGA supporter? Are you well known enough as a long-time supporter of Trump? Have you always publicly backed him? If the answer is yes, you can commit the most serious crimes. You may only find yourself in prison for maybe a few months before being pardoned. Not only will you not face serious prison time, it will be wiped from your record. The only thing you risk is it being public knowledge that you were convicted in the first place. But if you never need the trust of people who care about that, it's not a problem. This is how Trump gets his brown shirts, isn't it? If Trump feels under pressure from a political opponent at any point, he doesn't right now. I mean, all of the people who should be his political opponents are running around like headless chickens. But if at some point a figure rises to challenge him, he can just sling them in prison on false charges, can't he? But not right now. He's not ready for that yet. Putin does that in Russia. Trump can't quite be in that position. So what he can do instead is direct a violent mob to take care of his problem. And if any are caught and convicted, as inevitably there will be, a pardon will be on its way. What America is now is a country where people are permitted, even encouraged, to buy and train in the use of incredibly deadly firearms, and MAGA supporters are basically required to do so. They're now being told that if they do Trump's work, he will make sure they're protected from the law. Now, I've often thought that I'd hate to ever visit Texas. I just can't imagine going to a supermarket for groceries and selecting some bread stood next to someone doing the same thing with a bazooka slung across their back. How are you supposed to tell the difference between a Texan with a small willy trying to compensate and one who is about to go off the deep end and get themselves in the national news? But this is a whole other level of scary. What is to stop vigilantes who think they're protecting America from Trump's enemies if the fear of legal consequences is removed? The third danger is, of course, that it removes what little power the courts have to enforce the law. There have been threats from judges that they will go after anyone who carries out Trump's illegal orders if it's in direct violation of a court order. They obviously can't prosecute Trump himself. After all, kings are above the law. But they can go after the people who need to physically carry out the acts. But how does that work? They issue warrants, people are investigated, some are charged, face trial, they're convicted, then Trump pardons them. A massive middle finger to the courts. Trump will then blame the judges for wasting taxpayer money and court time when he's made it clear he's just going to cancel any convictions. It gives cover to any officials from legal consequences for carrying out what they know are illegal actions, if ordered by the president. And the power of all of these threats to democratic norms from a rogue president are amplified when the practice of pardoning allies is not only taking place, we knew it was taking place, he literally pardoned people who murdered police officers. But it's openly taking place. It positively encourages people to knowingly commit crimes as long as those crimes are in Trump's name. And of course, we know the next step, don't we? After all, if the Department of Justice isn't going to be pursuing and punishing Trump's criminal cultists, I mean, they're going to have a lot of spare time on their hands, aren't they? And if you're not going to fill that time pursuing people who are obviously guilty, you may as well fill it with pursuing those who are obviously innocent, but are on Trump's list of enemies. And the confidence with which Trump's government is making clear its intentions, they're not even trying to hide it. That should be worrying for everyone. America going down this path is obviously terrible for Americans themselves, but it is going to allow malevolent actors around the world to take advantage in the chaos as well. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.